Hello, everybody. Today, with Andrew, we're going to speak about software migration costs. This is a very wide topic and not specifically migration, but generally software migration and modernization costs. This is a very wide topic and it can be accessed from various angles. We can speak about business processes, we can speak about compliance, we can speak about risks, we can speak about specifically technical debt, we can speak about performance degradation, so on and so forth. But we will focus today specifically on technical debt and on business processes. So since those two angles, they help us understand the problem from two more or less main perspectives that businesses are considering this problem. How does it influence me from technical perspective? How does it influence me from business perspective? Without getting in too much details of all other angles. So let's get to it, and Andrew will explain more about
the technical debt compounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me start with this topic. Hello, everybody. So let's speak about this very interesting topic. So when we talk about technical debt, we're not talking about the bad engineers or bad decisions. So we're rather talking about reasonable short-term decisions that become expensive long-term obligations. So technical debt is created when teams choose, for example, speeds over the structure, when they defer refactoring or they add temporary solutions. It's actually more or less the same like financial debt. So it can be very useful earlier, but with the time it accumulates interest. The real problem is not having a technical debt. The real problem is ignoring the interest payments. So how technical debt starts? So let's just think about the process of creation, the code. A deadline is tight. The team decided to take a shortcut because they can't do in time. They can't invest enough time to do the proper solution. So they have to make a shortcut. A few comments is added, like to do, clean up this later. Only a few for this very moment, and everyone agrees that it's a temporary solution. So because the team is under the pressure, they have to proceed fast, and in this case, they just have to make temporary solutions, shortcuts, and not ideal architecture decisions. And most technical debt starts as a smart business solution because it's not a technical decision, it's a business decision to make it faster. So this later never comes. The system works and that's just enough. That's good enough, nobody touches it. But new features, they really depend on these shortcuts that were created in the past. And in this very moment, the technical debt becomes structural. So let's talk about the compound effect of technical debt. So we just touched the topic how technical debt created. When the complexity of the code grows, quick fixes stacked on the other quick fixes. No single person understands the full system anymore. Code paths multiply, and each new changes had to tiptoe around the past. At this moment, the changes become risky. Small changes cause unexpected failures. Teams stop refactoring and starts avoiding it. The team just too afraid of touching something. They do not know how does it work, and they have a deadline of new features, and they can't invest enough time to dig in all these quick fixes they did before and fix all of that. So the refactoring just stopped, and everybody starts to avoid it. And fear enters the development process. When the teams are afraid to touch the code, velocity just collapses. So workarounds, they replace solutions. Instead of fixing root causes, the team start of adding more configurations, more flags, more exceptions. It's like fixing a cracked foundation of the house by painting the walls. The same. So with the time, the hidden cost appears in a development process. And this cost is a additional developers' time. And engineers start spend more time on understanding all code, debugging regression, writing defensive logic, and much less time on building new features, new value for the business, and improving customers' experience. So just imagine that the feature implementation takes only 1 week at the very first year of development. So at the third year of development, the same feature could, the development of the same feature could take like 3 weeks or even more. And the 5th year, so it could be the team just avoid of implementation of this feature entirely. The issue with technical debt that it doesn't slow you down all at once. It slows you down a little by little with each iteration of development. And surprisingly, new hires make it worse, not better. Because the new developers, they should get into the system, the code base, but they do not know the historical context. They do not know what's safe to change and what not safe. The documentation of the system is outdated or sometimes even missing. And senior engineers becomes a bottleneck. And this is like a huge problem. As a result, onboarding of a new developers takes longer. Knowledge silos forms, and key people become irreplaceable. So the system starts depending on people instead of architecture, and that's very fragile for business. It's a very big risk. Migration cost starts to expand, and it starts to expand a little bit later. So it's so the migration is not just moving the code. It's about untangling the implicit assumptions, about the hard code dependencies, about business logic mixed with infrastructure, and so forth and so on. Each year of delay adds more code paths to analyze. It adds more edges cases to test, more data formats to reconcile. When you delay migrations, you're not freezing the system. You're letting it grow in the worst possible shape. So technical debt compounds very silently. There is no alerts, no invoices, no dashboards. But every change costs more. Every risk is higher with time, and migration becomes unavoidable. It's very urgent. So early migration is a controlled investment. Late migration is a crisis response.
Okay, and now, yeah, thank you, Andrei. Now I will speak a bit more from business processes perspective, and the highlight of that would be the idea is that the longer you wait, the more software stops being a tool and starts being your culture, and how it starts shaping your company and shaping your business processes. The point number one is that workarounds become workflows. A very simple example: you have a sales team, and that sales team making some kind of outreach. They need a proper CRM to keep track of whatever they do. They don't have a CRM, so they make some spreadsheets. That's a very regular solution that which pretty much every single company does that. They make spreadsheets, and that's reasonable. With time, those spreadsheets get bigger and more complicated. Managing those spreadsheets becomes more difficult aligning data between those spreadsheets becomes more difficult, then a time comes when it is decided, okay, now let's have a CRM. Now we have a problem. We need to migrate all those leads into the new spreadsheets. What do we do about that? The problem is that the CRM structure may not fully reflect whatever you had in your spreadsheets and whatever the processes you already had before. That means that there should be some trade-offs. You can say that, okay, let's say we want to have everything that we had in our spreadsheets. Most likely that's not going to happen. And the existing team, starts to fight the innovation in the situation. Why they do it? Because all their skills, all their processes, all their comfort zone is locked in those spreadsheets. It can be same way related to people doing accountancy and saving invoices in their Google Drive folders. It can be same way with people saving some kind of receipts again from purchases in a specific folder, and then having a specific process to go through those receipts instead of having the system keep track of it. People start feeling their comfort zone, their expertise specifically in the existing processes with their existing approach. So whatever workarounds were before, now they become the culture of the company. When you're hiring, as Andrew said before, when you're hiring the new people, those people are trained in those outdated processes. And again, hiring new people in this situation doesn't help at all, because very soon, immediately, they are trained in the existing processes and challenges this status quo. New hires are never challenging the status quo, especially if they are not on manager's position. They just go with the flow. And challenges the status quo with over time becomes more and more and more difficult. And then you get to the point when it's not only senior developers, but also your salespeople, your accountancy, your customer support, whatever other departments you have, they get locked in the existing software so much that the software actually shapes their processes fully. So now they are not doing specific operations because this is optimal for their performance or this is optimal for the business. They're doing specific operations and procedures because this is how they did them over the years, and this is how their process and software is set up. And getting out of this is a very big problem. That's why, by the way, it's not very easy to have a modernization project being managed and run by existing stuff. That's why an external partner can potentially be much more successful running a modernization project, including the software modernization project, than the existing stuff, because the existing stuff is locked in the existing software and processes, not only from technical depth perspective, but also from their comfort zone perspective, from their expertise, from their status in the company perspective, and so on and so forth. And when you start challenging this, even if, let's say, the CEO wants to do it, but when he delegates this to his reports, it gets to the point where people just keep doing the same stuff and pretending to do some innovation project just to make sure like everyone is comfortable and happy. That way, change become harder and harder and harder, and the migration or modernization stops being a technical problem and starts being an organizational problem. And organizational problems are usually much more difficult to solve. And we can certainly say it since we're a technical company. Organizational problems are way more difficult to solve than technical problems. So when it happens, what you need to do now, you're not just replacing software. You are literally renegotiating habits, renegotiating incentives, KPIs, responsibilities, power dynamics in the company. Power dynamics in the company is a very serious thing when you're speaking about modernization. A very simple example, which we've seen many, many times in various companies where we did modernization project. You have senior developers, like a few guys, which are very strong and very experienced. They are actually very experienced. Their technical skills are on extremely high level. And they have their own processes. They have their own vision, and they follow it. And there is nothing you can do about it. Like whatever you suggest, whatever changes you want to implement, whatever new technologies you want to suggest, it will just hit the brick wall of their arguments, which can be completely reasonable for that specific company, since this is how it's been done for the previous 15 years, and it worked, and it did work, it's fine, it worked. The problem is that now it may not solve it may not be up to current challenges. and now you need to do modernization. And now these expertise which help you to sustain the company for the previous 15 years may actually interfere with the company progressing further. And that's a very big problem, because those people, they're usually very powerful in the company, and they can influence the decision on the highest level. So as a conclusion to all of that, the success of modernization project, it depends not only on technical expertise, it depends on management, on training, on implementing new habits, and on leadership alignment. And this is where it actually starts. Very often we see the situation when the CEO of the company thinks that, okay, we didn't need to do a modernization and it's simply like a technical task, so let's just hire, let's say, a development company that will rebuild our software. That's not going to fly. In order to implement a proper modernization project, the things which need to be considered is technical perspective, management perspective, organizational perspective, power dynamics perspective. All those things together, only considering all of those points, you have a chance to succeed in a modernization project. If you consider it only from technical perspective, you will stumble upon the brick wall of existing processes, of existing hierarchy, of existing literally locked in procedures, which are not going to change, even if the higher management decides to change them. And that's why when we're working with our clients on modernization project, these are one of the most important points which we try to deliver them. And these are one of the most important points which we emphasize when we negotiate the project and when we manage the project together with them. So again, as a conclusion, when you are considering a modernization project, be prepared that apart from technical modernization, you will have to do organizational modernization as well, because without organizational modernization, your technical modernization will simply not work.